Do we still have the same problem, or can you hear me this time? Hello?
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
We
Prabhuji.
can hear you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji,
Hare
we can
Krishna.
hear you clearly.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we cannot hear you.
Oh, you cannot hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, Yes, Prabhuji. Now we
Okay,
can hear
great.
you.
Obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. How are you? I was asking if all of you are in Karachi or in different parts of Pakistan.
In different parts of Pakistan.
Different parts of Pakistan. I'm really fascinated, like how the Pakistani government. I'm just curious. How do they allow you to? Is it kind of like Saudi Arabia, where as long as you're not preaching to local Muslims, you're allowed to have your services and stuff like that? Is that how it happens?
Yes, Prabhuji, we are not allowed to preach Muslims here.
But they allow you at least to congregate or not, and have
Yes,
your.
yes, we are comfortable here. We don't have any problem here.
So the government doesn't. So it's not like Bangladesh, because in Bangladesh there's a lot of violence on the part of Muslims towards Hindu Bangladeshis. That's a fact.
But we have here, we have mandirs and we have gurdwara, so we don't have any other problems.
So it's not like that. It's much better than
Yes.
Bangladesh.
Yes.
Because I heard from reliable sources horrible stories there. Like Muslims will come into a Hindu village and like literally like steal young women, 15, 16-year-old, and force them to marry them and convert to Islam by
Yes,
force.
Prabhuji, it also happens, but sometimes we feel that it's our own weakness.
It's your own
Sorry
what?
to interrupt. Sorry to
It's
interrupt you, Rakhi Mataji. It happens in small villages, Prabhu. There
yes,
are many small villages where there's conversion into Islam is happening, and they are like forcefully marrying to the girls, and even but it is like mostly popular nowadays in Sindhi communities, not in all Hindu communities, but basically in
Why
Sindhi
Sindhi?
communities. Uh, we personally believe that the problem may be because the families of Sindhi people, they are not educating the women, or maybe they are already restricting a lot of girls in their house. So we don't have the actual reason, but basically we have seen that according to the researchers and all, the Sindhi, mostly the Sindhi girls, they are being forced by the Muslims men's, and they are marrying them, and they are forcing them to convert into the Islam.
Are you allowed to go in public and do what we call Harinam Sankirtan or no?
No. We are not allowed to do it. But yes, if we ask for the permission, like many of the time when, like here in Jagannath Yath Yatra, some years before they were not allowed to do it in the street. But this year they asked to the government for at least one street so that they can play mridanga and harmonium and do Harinam Sankirtan on that particular street. But not the but we are not basically allowed to do that publicly Harinam Sankirtan.
And if you did, if you just decided one day, they would take you to jail or worse.
No, we don't know because we didn't do it now. But basically, they said that they will like send us the theater, like threatening messages and also because of this. Even though this has never happened yet, but we are afraid of doing it.
It's like Prabhupada talks about nobody has given what he was a chemist, and there's a lecture where he talks about how, like, for every chemical, there's a description of what it looks like, what it feels like, and what it tastes like. But cyanide poison, no one has described how it tastes like, because if you take it, you'll die. Oh well.
So yes,
Okay. Well, I guess
we
this is
don't want
your.
to take risk actually.
Yeah, of course.
but Prabhuji, there are so many kind of people and so many with different mentality. So some of them are really literate and understand our religion and all those things, but some of them are very extremist also.
And most of you were born there because is it because of partition that you know your Hindu families are there since many years, but because of partition, all of a sudden the country became Muslim, and then you were kind of stuck there?
Yes, Prabhuji, our
I see you
forefathers
all
didn't
nodding.
want to go in India.
And get killed on the way, huh? Jeez. Wow. Okay, well, it is what it is, and I guess yeah, you have to see it as Krishna's mercy somehow, huh? Okay, let us go to our shastras, and let's do a little kirtan for 5 minutes. And I get this from Jiva Goswami actually mentions this somewhere in his Sandarbhas that I read this one time, and I always remember this that he says somewhere that a lecture or talk on shastra should be preceded and proceeded by kirtan, by Harinam Sankirtan, and there should also be distribution of prasadam, but we can't really do that on WhatsApp. Okay, if everyone mutes themselves, we'll do a 5-minute kirtan, and then we'll go to verse 2 of Srila Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Instruction. I wanted to share an image, but the host is here we go. Just put a picture of Radha Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privraj Gacharya Ashtutara Sarasri Shimad Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shri Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai Yugadharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivat Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayashvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Srila Rupa Goswami Ki Jai. Okay, well, here we are at verse number 2. Welcome to everybody. I'm not going to go through everybody's names like last time, but I looked at all the pages, the 3 or 4 pages, and all of you are here. A lot of you are not on video. That's okay. And let's dive in. So we're going to verse number 2 of nectar instruction. And here we are. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangas chalolyam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. Let's do like last time. We'll just, it's a short purport, relatively, so we'll get through this one pretty fast. And let's do this. Let's do it this way so that I don't feel guilty afterwards when you see Doshna already raised her hand. I'm gonna get a list so that because it's this WhatsApp, you can't really see who raises their hands first, and then last time I mentioned, okay, this person reads, and then then I forget about her or whatever, him. So who wants to read? So we have Doshna, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So we got the view here. So we've got Raki, and then Kishori, Mehak, Jatin. Jatin is not in the library today. We got Aishwarya. And we've got Varka. I'm just writing them down, so that we can. Naina. And then we have Aruna. Wow, it's a lot of paragraphs. Bhauna, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Oh, and then we got Bimala Prasad Prabhu, okay?
It's Bhavna.
You're going to stand in line, Bimala Prasad Prabhu, like Prabhupada stood in line in New York to go to take a shower.
Wanted to join. Please, Rasal is also there, your friend.
Rasal? My friend.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like just count me out for this today. Just count me out for it.
But I don't see him.
I'm here. I mean,
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
I'm seeing you after almost 20 years. The
Wow.
last time I saw you in Punjabi Bagh Temple.
Where are you though? I don't see you. Somehow or other. Okay, okay, Prabhu. Gotcha. Harivol. All right, well, we got a lot of volunteers, so I'll read the verse, and then where is the little note I just had right here? Come on. Got a whole bunch of names here. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Translation, one's devotional service, we read this before last week already, huh? One's devotional service is spoiled, or the first week when the first meeting, one's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes or she becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1, eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. 2, over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. 3, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. We covered that with TikTok and Instagram. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them. So, just empty ritual, forgetting that, the whole point is to awaken love of Krishna and to share love of Krishna with others as well. And working independently, or rejecting the rules and regulations. So like we don't need to follow the 4 regulative principles and so on. I mean, there's not really and so on. Maybe you could talk a little bit about rules of Pancharatrika when you're on the altar, but even then, like, I don't think the Gaudiyas really sweat it, as they say in America, as much, for example, as, Brahmins from South India who are, so adamant about following so many very, very strict rules on the altar, when they worship, I don't know, Ranganath or Balaji in Tirupati. My feeling, and I think from what I've read, is the Gaudiya style of Pancharatrika is a lot more I'm not going to say spontaneous in the sense of, again, not being strict with moral principles, but, I think, and especially also in ISKCON, like, you Prabhus all really inspire me. I get all these like memories of these stories that I heard, that are apropos. For example, this is a very interesting thing. When Prabhupada installed Krishna Balaram deities in ISKCON Vrindavan, maybe Bimal Prasad Prabhu knows this story, or maybe it was in a temple in America, I forgot. But the point is Satsarup Maharaj, actually in Vrindavan, I know for a fact that he actually even said, like, if it wasn't for all the caste Brahmins that we have to sort of pacify and do things, appropriately, because, the caste Brahmins of Vrindavan may get upset and, this has not been done. As a matter of fact, there's a purport that Hridayananda Maharaj quotes a lot, where Prabhupada says in the, I forgot, 4th canto, somewhere in the Bhagavatam, where Prabhupada says, some of our Indian friends, it's funny because he's Indian, he's born in Bangladesh, but he's so off the bodily platform that he speaks of, he says some of our Indian friends puffed up with false ego, criticize the Krishna consciousness movement and specifically about deity worship, saying this has not been done, that has not been done, but they don't understand that something that is applicable to India may not be appropriate in another country. So
This is 4954.
There you go. Here's the reference.
Yeah,
It's a great quote.
4954 on
Chandrasekhar.
the purport to Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Oh,
And
okay.
Narad Muni is initiating Dhrova. There, there's the exact line what you're quoting. I remember that verbatim.
Someone asked a question.
No, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Prabhu. Your voice is very slow today. Like many of
My
the
voice.
students, they are not able to hear it
You're not
properly.
able to hear my
It's
voice.
slow. Yeah,
It's
I am
low.
able to hear it, but it's slow. Yeah.
It's low. Okay. Let me see the volume here. Hopefully there's a volume. Let me see what I can do here on Zoom. The settings of the volume for the audio. output. I'm at maximum here. Hello, hello, hello. I'm at maximum.
This is okay. If anyone else has got the same problem,
It's perfectly fine for me.
Now it's fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Because I tested it. It sounds okay from my side. It's okay, Bimala Prasad Prabhu?
Good to go. Good to go.
Okay, good to go. So that's in Vrindavan, in Vrindavan, and you can see even on the footage of Prabhupada's deity installation, when they're installing Krishna Balaram in Vrindavan, and there's all these Smarta Brahman, they're Brajabasi, so of course we respect them, but they're, chanting all these mantras, and then you can see Prabhupada, and this is a comment actually that Yadubar Prabhu makes, he filmed it, and later on he's commenting, in that wonderful series called Following Prabhupada series, which I recommend you all watch. It's online for free on YouTube. It's called Following Prabhupada. I think it's about 12 or 7 DVDs. With footage of Prabhupada, from 66 all the way to 77, with devotees who were there in that scene, commenting. And you see Prabhupada is like chanting japa silently, kind of like, okay, guys, like, almost like, when are they going to be done with this non-essential stuff? And he's just chanting japa, So, so my original point is that in some deity installation, I don't remember where, but Satsarup Maharaj mentions, he asked Prabhupada, how should we do the deity worship installation? And Prabhupada said, shortcut. He said, shortcut. So you Prabhus should understand, of course, deity worship is wonderful. It's important. And the most important thing, at least according to Prabhupada's standard, was punctuality, punctuality and cleanliness. Punctuality, that means, especially in a temple setting. Of course, at home, whether you do your puja at 7 in the morning or 7:30 or 4 in the afternoon, it's a complete other story. But at least in temples, exactly at 4:30, the curtain should open, not 4:31 or 4:29, and especially cleanliness. And that brings us back to this point of sattvaguna, But the verse itself talks about, Rupa Goswami warns us of, okay, one extreme, of course, is to reject rules and regulations. And especially this refers, again, to moral principles, the 4 regulative principles. But then the other extreme is to, following so many rules and regulations, which, again, are just more small details, such as, I don't know, like so many, if you're a Hindu and, there's a whole world of well, remember the first day we were talking about, again, I apologize with that pious gentleman from India who was coming to the Los Angeles temple, who was touching his ears and stuff like that. But there may be some meaning to it, but it's not essential. You get my point. But some devotees, out of fanaticism, may start, putting on the same level some very small detail, which is not at all an essential principle of Bhakti Yoga, on the same level as essential principles of Bhakti Yoga. So that, for example, I'm just, imagining right now, for example, I don't know, eating with your hand and never, ever, ever with a spoon is, as important as performing Harinam Sankirtan, for example. You know what I mean? So coming back to the verse, number 5, associating with worldly minded people. So that's asat sangha. And 6, being greedy for mundane achievements. So the first, maybe Doshan. Well, actually, who was the first person who raised her hand? I know it was a she. It was Doshna. Okay, so Doshna, you be the first one to read. Oh, I'm sorry, I put Doshan. There was a autocorrect. So Doshna, go ahead, read the first paragraph.
Purpose. Human life is meant for the plain
Hello?
screen. Oh, Pro,
What's
can
happening?
you share the
Oh,
page?
you're reading from my share, okay?
Yeah.
If you Prabhus next time can all have your own, copy, it's easier.
Human life is meant for plain living and high thinking, since all conditional living beings are under the control of the Lord's third energy. This material world is designed so that one is obliged to work. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has 3 primary energies or potencies. The first is called Antaranga Shakti, or the eternal potency. The second is called Tatsatha Shakti, or the marginal potency. The third is called Bahiringa Shakti, or the external potency. The living entity constitute the marginal potency, and they are situated between the internal and external potencies. being subordinate as an external servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Jivatmas or atomic living entities must remain under the control of either the internal or external potency. When they are under the control of the internal potency, they display their natural constitutional activity, namely constant engagement in the devotional service of the Lord. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Matmanastu mam paratha devyam prakrityam ashritaha bhajante anyanya manaso ज्ञात्वा भूतदिम् अव्ययम्.
Mm-hmm.
O son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. The
Very
word
good. Wait, that was it. That was your quota. So, important theology is being explained here by Prabhupada. Very essential stuff. There's three primary energies, the external, internal, and marginal. And Prabhupada says that we are, which one? Which one are we?
Marginal.
Marginal.
That's
Exactly. And so as you understand, we're meant to serve. Like we are all servants. If you in that introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, A servant is serving B master, and B servant is serving C master, and C servant is serving D master. So as a matter of fact, I don't know if you, and you don't have to, of course, but I'm from the West, so I make references to Western stuff, and so there was a very famous American musician in the 1960s called Bob Dylan. There was a movie actually that came out recently about him, about his life, with that famous actor. Forgot his name. Maybe some of you know. But anyway, and so Bob Dylan was this famous musician, and he wrote beautiful songs. And at one point, he met devotees of Krishna. And he took a ride from San Francisco to LA or something with some devotees who preached to him. And then when he came home, he composed this song called "You Gotta Serve." And the whole song is, whether you're rich or whether you're poor or whether you're this or that, you just got to serve. Because that's what we do. That's what we believe, especially as Vaishnavas. The Mayavadis will say, no, 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 no. Actually, we don't serve. We serve maybe now while we're in this world. But once we get moksha, no more service. We are all God, actually. We are all one. But is this what the Vaishnavas say? Is this, Jatinji, is this what the Vaishnavas say?
No, Prabhuji.
So what do the Vaishnavas say?
Vaishnavas do say like we have to serve in this lifetime and after the lifetime or after the death. Or although being the moksha, going on to Vaikuntham, serving Krishna.
Exactly. Well said. We continue because we are servants. What is anyone know? Maybe that verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is actually very important. Jivera Swarup Hoy.
Krishnera Nityadas.
Very good. Jatinji, if you don't know, I don't know, but it's an important verse you should learn. Jivera Swarup. So it's classical Bengali. So the Swarup. You see, we believe that each soul is not Brahman. I mean, it's Brahman in quality, but we believe that each individual jiva has a swarup. We spoke about this already. And that's why we speak about the cowherd boys, the gopas, or the manjaris, or the gopis, or the Nanda Maharaj, and those souls who have parental rasa with Krishna. Each soul has, and some are trees, or some are cows, and they all love Krishna in their individual rasa, but they have a form, a swarup. So jivera swarup hoy. So the swarup of the jiva, Krishnera nitya das. What does nitya dasa mean?
Eternal servant.
Eternal servant. Very good.
Permanent service.
Yes, eternal servants. So the point is, that's the point. Therefore, we got to serve. So you either serve Maya or you serve Krishna. Either you serve your senses and you end up miserable, or you serve Krishna and you end up happy. And then here's some Rasika stuff. This verse From Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Let me ask you this question. Is Radharani mentioned anywhere explicitly in Bhagavad Gita? The word Radharani? Is she mentioned anywhere in Bhagavad Gita? No.
No.
Right.
No.
Is she mentioned explicitly anywhere, even in Srimad Bhagavatam?
No.
No. Now there's one verse, Aradhana Sarvesham, like,
Yes.
right? Yes, exactly. But it's indirectly. But the Vaishnavacharyas, and Bimal Prasad Prabhu, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. They mentioned that this Daivi Prakritim, this being under the shelter. You see the verse that we're talking about here, 9:13, Mahatmanas tumam parta Daivi Prakritim ashritaha. So those great souls, those Mahatmas like you, like us, who are, I mean, Mahatmas in the sense by Krishna's mercy, that we have made a right decision to serve Krishna. We are, ashritaha means shelter, or under the shelter of Daivi Prakritim, this internal energy. So some acharyas, or maybe all of them, agree that actually what does it mean to be under the shelter of the Daivi Prakritim? It means to be under the shelter of Srimati Radharani. Cool. Okay, so Raki, maybe you can read now, starting with the paragraph. The word Mahatma refers.
Yes. Thank you. The word Mahatma refers to those who are broad-minded, not triple-minded. Triple-minded persons always engaged in satisfying their senses, sometimes expand their activities in order to do good for others through some ism like nationalism, humanitarianism, or altruism. They may reject personal sense gratification for the sense gratification of others, like the member of the family, community, or society, either national or international. Actually, all this is extended sense gratification, from personal to communal to social. This may all be very good from the material point of view, but such activities have no spiritual value. The basis of such activity is sense gratification, either personal or extended. Only when a person gratifies the senses of the Supreme Lord can he be called a Mahatma or broad-minded person.
Good point.
Continue, Prabhu.
No, because we have so many volunteers.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
This is where the Vaishnavas, they're not against family life, but they say, look, if actually, there's this verse in the Bhagavatam, maybe Bimla Prasad Prabhu remembers, in the 10th canto. This is part of the Bhakti Rasayana. Sanatan Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, he made like a personal collection of 64 verses, okay, which are kind of like, Bhakti Rasayana. Rasayana, as you know, in Ayurvedic terminology, or just Hindi or Sanskrit, is like some sort of potion or elixir that gives you life, isn't it? So he selected 64 verses from the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, which some say was the verses that he would read as he's, not in the same time, but just to inspire his japa. And the reason I mentioned is because there's a verse in there that, actually, I'll get it. I'll show it up, because it's very relevant to quote here. He's basically, as I'm looking for it, he's basically saying, it's Brahma, and he's saying that, unless they're serving you, my Lord, then all the love that, family members may have for others of their own family is basically useless. Here it is. I'll share with you the Bhakti Rasayana document here. You see? And it's very nice. It starts with the birds and the flute and the animals, and then it goes to, to the parental, to the servants of Krishna, the Aborigine woman, and then it goes up to, there's some verses that talk about how the cowherd boys are playing with Krishna, and then it goes to the Yashoda Mai and Nanda Maharaj and so on, and then it finally finishes with beautiful verses about how the gopis loved Krishna. And I'm just looking really quickly. If I don't find it, then we'll forget about it. But the point is this, like Prabhupada says here in this verse, in this purport, that someone may say, "Oh, look, this person," not to criticize. It's very nice to take care of your family, to be a very good wife or to be a good husband. But the point is, if that's all you do in life and you don't have a spiritual dimension to your life and you're not connecting your husband or your wife or your children to Krishna, um, then here you go. Look at this. My dear Lord Krishna. Everyone sees this? So this is Lord Brahma saying, "My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves. Their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles." So it doesn't mean that once you become a devotee, you no longer have a home or you no longer have family members. But the point is that until you become a devotee, all these things like your home or like your material attachments or your affectionate feelings for your family members, they're foot shackles because they're not connected to Krishna. And therefore, something that's not connected to Krishna will only bind you in the cycle of birth and death. Hmm? And I think we could say this is what Prabhupada is saying right here. That people may reject, personal sense gratification. Okay, I will sacrifice. I'm a good father. I will sacrifice, my whole life for my wife and children. Okay, that's nice, but that's just a foot shackle if you don't give them Krishna. Because it's just like Prabhupada says, extended sense gratification. Okay, because you especially for example children. One day you'll most probably all of you have children. So children come from you literally. So in a way they're from the bodily point of view, they're extensions of your body. So okay, I will not gratify my senses, but I will gratify or facilitate the sense gratification of my children, so they can gratify their senses. So that's why Prabhupada talks about extended sense gratification. It's a very nice term that he came up with. Extended sense gratification. So we always have to remember that we have to put Krishna in the center. And then when Krishna is in the center, then everything becomes spiritualized. And family life, is very nice and doesn't need to be rejected. Okay, if you have any questions, everyone, just ask anytime. Huh? So I think now we have Kishori, at least on my list, Kishori Lakha.
Prabhuji, isn't it natural to desire for your children?
Yes,
Like they
it's
must have a good life, a well-educated life, or some
yes,
like comfortable life. So isn't
absolutely.
it natural?
It is, but they should be in parallel. Here, let me read to you a very important verse from Sri Shopanishad. You Prabhus are supposed to read this book, and let me share it with you. It's a very, very important verse, and I think it'll answer your question. You'll just have to forgive me. I forget which one it is exactly. And what I'll do is I'll actually go to Vedabase for this one because the Vedabase is a easier site to navigate than the. But I like this site, Prabhupada's books, because here you have the original non-abridged, the original 1972 Bhagavad Gita. I don't want to get into it, but maybe you can ask Bimal Prasad Prabhu after to explain to you the controversy about the changes or the unnecessary changes that were made to Prabhupada's books. And so in ISKCON you have you have two types of devotees: some who prefer to read the original, like for example in terms of Bhagavad Gita, the 1972 Macmillan edition, which they argue Prabhupada completely gave the green light and totally said, okay, this is fine, don't change anything else. And then there's the BBT edition, which has been proved to have so many changes that were not necessary, they will say, and not approved by Prabhupada, and were made after Prabhupada approved the 1972 version. So when you go online, there's some websites that show the original, like for example, here you have the 1974 Sri Shopanishad. But anyway, here's my point. Here we go. Here we go. Mantra 11. Only one who can learn the process of nescience. Nescience, if you don't know what that means, ignorance. right? Lacking knowledge. That's what basically nescience means. So one who can learn the process of nescience. So what is the well? Let me read the verse and then I'll. So you can see this verse. Who was I speaking to? Raki, you see it, right? Okay, everyone can see it. So here's the verse again, mantra 11. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of... Hey, can someone mute themselves though? Because there's someone speaking in the background. Please, for all of us. Thank you. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side, and this is the point, side by side, can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So that's our guideline. We engage in the material world, which can be called the process of nescience, which means we wish our best for our children. We try to give them the best education, the best clothes, everything, as well as for ourselves as well. But side by side, we have a sadhana. We chant Hare Krishna. We follow the four regs. We offer our food to Krishna. We read the Bhagavatam. We go to Harinam Sankirtan. We encourage our children to also become Vaishnavas. And in this way, both are cultivated at the same time, not one or the other. Okay? That makes sense? So now we have Kishori Lakha. Correct me if I've got the wrong spelling.
Prabhuji, it's Kishori Latha.
It's Kishori Lakha.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So I got it right.
Yes.
And do you have the book in front of you or not?
Ji, Prabhuji, I have.
Okay, so go for it.
From certain paragraph, the word Mahatma.
Where did we stop?
In the above quoted verse from Bhagavad Gita. You should
Yeah.
start from there.
Kishori, start from there. In the above quoted verse.
Quoted verse. O
In
son
the-
of Partha.
No. The paragraph starts in the above quoted verse from Bhagavad Gita. It's two down from where you read. Two down.
Page number 16, Kishori.
16.
16. The second
16.
paragraph. Yes.
Okay.
The-
In the above quoted verse from Bhagavad Gita, the words Devim Pratatim refer to the control of the internal potency or pressure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pressure potency is manifested as Srimati Radharani
well, there you
or
go. Prabhupada says it. I forgot Prabhupada says it. Please go ahead. Continue.
or a expansion Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. When the individual jiva souls are under the control of the internal energy, their only engagement is the certification of Lord of Krishna or Vishnu. This is the position of a Mahatma. If one is not a Mahatma, he is Duratma or a triple-minded person. Such mentally crippled Duratmas are put under the controls of the Lord internal potency
External
Mahamaya.
potency.
External potency Mahamaya.
Yes. And this is where Maya forces us to think, no, I'm independent. What are you saying? I'm under the control of an external energy. And there's this first verse, what is it? Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimuratma karta aham iti manyate. Karta aham iti manyate. So the foolish person, because of the influence of ahankar and the three modes of nature, thinks, oh, I'm karta aham, I am the doer. But actually, he's not. He's under the control of the three modes of nature. Okay, now we have Mehak. Indeed.
Prabhuji, I don't have a book available right now.
Okay.
so-
Okay, here we go. We'll share the page.
Prabhuji, one question. Maybe
Yeah,
it's,
hold on. Here we go. Wait,
uh,
how come I don't see it?
if everything is done by the Prakriti, the three modes, Rajasic, Tamasic, and the Sattvic mode, then how a person can we say that he's committing a sin if everything is
Good point. Good point.
yes.
It's a good point. Yeah. It's a very good point. The living entity always has free will, and especially when it comes to either serving Krishna or serving Maya. So yeah, it's kind of those paradoxes. We have free will, and we engage, we decide with our free will to serve Maya, really, to gratify our senses. So it's not that we're not doing the activity, especially this, but then there's also karmic reactions, especially in terms of like what we're supposed to, like, for example, how much money we get in a lifetime, or how many years we live, or how many children we have, or how happy or unhappy we are in marriage life, or and so on, how popular we are, or how healthy or sick we are. Those things are kind of already set from our birth, isn't it? So if one, for example, has already predestined karma to whatever, let's say to make $5 million in one's lifetime, then the risk is that then you go to whatever you do, you go to college and this or that, and then you make 5 million, and you think, I made it. And in a way you did, because you did it in a past life by doing punya, by, I don't know, giving charity, or building some school, or giving I don't know, giving money to the poor, building some well, and so on. So ultimately, yes, the soul does reap the result of the soul's actions. But because of ahankar, because of three modes, we tend to think, oh yeah, I'm the soul doer. When actually Krishna is the one who allows things to happen. He arranges for the demigods to provide, or to take away, or to create the road that you're taking, the karmic road that you're experiencing in this life. There's other factors in the equation. And Krishna talks about that in the Bhagavad Gita, the 5 factors of action. So we could say this karta hamiti manyate, we could say, the conditioned soul thinks that there's nothing except me, and everything that's, that I'm doing or that's happening to me is 100% only my doing. Whereas we understand that, no, yes, there's your free will, but at the same time, as I just described, there's Krishna, who created the whole material world to begin with, and then there's the demigods who are arranging for you to get your karma according to what you did. And so there's a whole network. There's a whole network of beings, ultimately, with the supreme being, Krishna, on top, who, arranged this whole mechanism for souls here. Is that satisfying? Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah. Great. So who was going to read next? I already, Rohini, someone raised your hand?
Yes, Prabhu, I have a question. Prabhuji, is there any difference between the word Maya and Mahamaya, and also the word Yoga Maya?
Yes.
The
So
three.
Yoga Maya, there's Yoga, so Mahamaya and Maya is the same. I mean, Maya is
Okay.
just a generic term, just like you could say laptop. So there's, IBM, like there's, there's IBM laptop, or there's Mac laptop. So laptop is a generic term like Maya. So what kind of Maya are we talking about? But generally, when we talk about you're in Maya, we're referring to Mahamaya, which is the external Maya, which makes, which illusions us. Yoga Maya, on the other hand, that's the kind of illusion that the cowherd boys experience when they cannot understand that their best friend, their buddy, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a divine, it's an illusion born out of intense love, divine love, as opposed to an illusion that comes as a result, like God, unfortunately, or because we don't want God, that God has no choice than to kind of create this Mahamaya to, the whole, you understand what Maya is. Hmm.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Someone else had raised his or her hand? Mm-mm. Okay, so I forgot who was reading next, because I deleted it. Mehak, go for it. I mean, yeah, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, I don't have a book right now.
Okay,
Can you say-
so we are going to screen it at no extra charge. So what read on a march jokes like this sometimes at no extra charge. Okay, I'm sorry, you have a really short one. So why don't you read 2 of them? Oh no, you have a pretty big one. This one, indeed, right? Indeed, all living entities.
Hare Krishna. Indeed, all the living entities within the material world are under control of Maya, with whose business is to subject them to the influence of the threefold miseries, suffering caused by the demigods, such as droughts, earthquake, and storms, suffering caused by the other living entities like insect or enemies, and suffering caused by one's own body and mind, such as mental and physical infirmities. The conditional souls subject to these three miseries by the control of the external energy suffer various difficulties.
You know, we tend to forget that. Thank you. We tend to forget that we are souls, and therefore, the sufferings that we experience in this body, in a technical sense, we don't need to. Like, if we were not in this samsara cycle, if we were not reincarnating in these bodies, we would not have to grow old. We would not have to have disease. We would not have to have anxiety about war or about, relationships or about money problems or about health. Mm. But because we rejected Krishna, and because we have these material bodies now, and because we identify with these bodies, we are subjected to these sufferings. But we have to remember that these are actually superfluous sufferings. We don't, as souls, we don't need to experience them. But now we have to because we're in this body. But hopefully we won't take birth again, and then when we don't take birth again, we don't have to experience these sufferings anymore. Jatin, take advantage of Jatin because he's not in the library. He can read. Maybe you can read the two paragraphs, the main problem, and then everyone requires.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. The main problem confronting the conditioned souls is the repetition of birth, old age, disease, and death. In the material world, one has to work for the maintenance of the body and soul, but how can one perform such work in a way that is favorable for the execution of Krishna consciousness? Everyone requires possessions such as food, drains, clothing, money, and other things necessary for the maintenance of the body, but one should not collect more than necessary for his actual basic needs. If this natural principle is followed, there will be no difficulty in maintaining the body.
Very good. So that's pretty straightforward. So now Aishwarya,
Yes, Prabhuji.
according to
According to nature's arrangement, living entities lower on the
evo-
evolutionary
uh-huh.
scale do not eat or collect more than necessary. Consequently, in the animal kingdom, there is generally no economic problem or scarcity of necessities. If a bag of rich is placed in a public place, birds will come to eat a few grains and go away. A human being, however, will take away the whole bag. He will eat all his stomach and hold and then try to keep the rest in change.
According to scripture, this collecting of more than necessary is prohibited. Now the whole
Because
world is suffering because of
now
it.
the entire world is suffering because of it.
Very good. I think someone raised her hand. Is that a question? No? Okay. Oh, Lakshmi, you had a question?
No, Prabhuji.
So maybe you can lower your hand, your digital hand. Such Kali Yuga technology, isn't it? So see that verse that I was telling from Sri Ishopanishad to Raki, Prabhupada now is kind of giving us, or Rupa Goswami and Prabhupada are giving us how to do this, and what to avoid in doing this balance between material life and spiritual life, for ourselves and for our children. So, one question, just as a trick question. Prabhupada talks about the evolutionary scale. So does that mean that Prabhupada believed in Darwinian evolution? The scientists among us here. Did Prabhupada accept Darwin evolution or not? Shobha is saying no. Barka is saying no. Jatin is saying no. Yeah, so what does it mean though? Prabhupada's he's saying the word evolutionary. So what does that mean?
Maybe it was about the parivartan,
Maybe because of what?
parivartan, change.
Like the different bodies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one.
We believe, we as devotees, we believe that Krishna has arranged all the species. How many species of life supposedly are there, we believe? 4,200,000, something like that, right? 4 lakh 420. How many species does the Bhagavatam say? 8,400,000. Exactly. Very good. 8 million. Thank you, Rohit Kumar Prabhu. 8,400,000. So we, unlike the evolutionary biologists who believe that first it was just a big bang and uni cells that create, that evolved more and more in one slightly more complex form after another until, however many millions and billions of years, finally you get a human form. And in that sense, it's the body form, the species that evolved from one species to another. We accept, the Bhagavatam's version where, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, matak sarvam parvart. Like, we believe that Krishna arranges all the form. Now, of course, Christian, because there's a lot of Christian creationists. That means Christians who believe in God. And so, they don't believe or accept that Krishna is God, but at least they believe in some sort of supreme person. And they believe that maybe there was some sort of Darwinian type evolution, but it was intelligent design. It was God who was guiding this evolution. But we believe, we don't even accept that. We believe that Krishna created, through Brahma, all the species at once. And so as whoever was speaking, I forgot, it was Shobha, then there's this, so when Prabhupada's talking about evolutionary, he's talking about souls that evolve, right, from one species to another, life after life in the samsara cycle. Just in case somebody asks you, do you believe in Darwinian evolution? That what we would say. That's how we understand evolution. I forgot who's reading here, or did we just forget Lakshmi? Sunil, you'll read a little bit later, okay? I have a list. I'll put you down there. Sunil. So now it's Lakshmi, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, please. Do you have a book or do you need it?
I have book.
Okay.
Collecting and eating more than necessary also causes priyasa or unnecessary endeavor. By good arrangement, anyone in any part of the world can live very peacefully. If he has some land and milk cow, there is no need for men to move from one place to another to earn a livelihood. For one can produce food grains locally and get milk from cows. They can solve all economic problems. Unfortunately, man has been given higher intelligence for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness or the understanding of God. One's relation with Him and the unlimited goal of
No, the
life,
ultimate, not unlimited. The
ultimate,
ultimate. Hmm.
ultimate goal of life, love of God. Unfortunately, so-called civilized men, not caring for God realization, utilizes his intelligence to get more than necessary and simply eat to satisfy the tongue. By good arrangement, there is sufficient scope of the production of milk and grain and for human being all over the world, but instead of using his higher intelligence of cultivate God consciousness, so-called intelligent men misuse their intelligence to produce more unnecessary and unwanted things. Thus, factory selector houses, brothels, and liquor shops are open. If people are advised not to collect too many goods, eat too much, or work unnecessarily to possess artificial amen, amenities. They think they are being advised to return to a primitive way of life.
Hmm.
Generally, people do not like to accept plain living and high thinking. That's their fortune position.
Very good. Now, here in the chat, I'm sharing with you. You can watch it later on. You see, in this paragraph you just read, Prabhupada says this song, he says the word so called civilized man, isn't it? So called, unfortunately, so called civilized man. So in the 1990s, there was members of ISKCON in America from New York who formed a band. I think I mentioned last time a punk rock, very heavy type of music that was Krishna conscious, a Krishna conscious band called Shelter. And one of their most famous songs was a song called Civilized Man. And actually, why don't you all, I'll give you 2 minutes, just play it on your own player here and wait till the chorus. The chorus is, I tried to understand, I tried the best I can, but who can understand civilized man? And then he goes, so-called civilized man. And you can see this is directly from Prabhupada's purport. So I want you to take 1 minute now and play this song. You'll see it's a very different style from, Hindustani kind of music. But listen to the video is not available for you guys on YouTube? Oh no. Is it true? You can't hear it.
Yes, it's true.
No. Oh, so a lot of YouTube is blocked by in Pakistan, huh? But I wonder why, because this is not, any sort of, oh, so strange. Anyway, I'll download it and I'll send it to you because it's just, you are all part of ISKCON, and it's nice to know, the history of ISKCON, isn't it? And so because you're, as I said, it's nice to know the history of ISKCON. So I'll download it and I'll place it just as an anecdote. Oh, here we go. I have it already. So I'll post it now in the chat, and you should be able to hear it. Oh, wait. Wait. Did you guys, was it downloaded? No. It says,
No,
but we can play here. Oh, Naina and Niha says you can play it here. So, are we able to put any sort of document in the chat, or is it only, oh yeah, file. Here we go. My computer, just 1 second. I know this is taking time, but I'm sorry. I take pleasure from from this because, you know me, I'm all into Yukta Vairagya, and how can we translate the message of Krishna consciousness into, a local culture that may not be India. And so this is a perfect example, and you can see it came. Yeah, I just sent it now. So here, put your head, listen to it if you want, and you'll see the style. And then the chorus says, I tried the best I can, but who can understand civilized man, so-called civilized man. It's right from Nectar of Instruction, so we're not deviating from Bhakti Shastri course here because it's directly in the purport. Are you all listening to it?
Prabhuji, I can play now.
I'll show you. You won't hear the volume. You won't hear the track here, but I'm showing you. This is a concert of this band, and you see the person here. This is actually a devotee. His name is Raghunath Prabhu. You saw him. Now he has a white beard. But this is a concert that he did in this band in 1994. So it's long. It's about 30. It's about 30 years old, but look, you see all these people watching, and these are all devotees. This devotee, like, there were brahmacharis at the time, so he has a shika and a bald head, and it's really hardcore music. You see, he has a Brahmin thread and and tulsi mala, but it's like really hardcore music. There's a fire in the city, only a fool will admit it. Truth has been spoken for all mankind. In illusion, in confusion, there can be hope. There can be hope for modern man. It's the message of the Bhagavad. So this is a song where he says it's the message of the Bhagavad, another great hit of theirs. So anyway, closing the parenthesis of, you see what the possibilities are for Krishna consciousness in different parts of the world. So who do we have now to read the next? We have Barka. Oh, someone raised her hand. Did you finish or did I interrupt you here? You finished, no?
Yes, Prabhuji, we have
Yes.
finished. But if we had lyrics, then we could understand more clearly.
Yes, but yes, true. They're screaming. Well, I was basically showing you this chorus where he says, "I try to understand, but who can understand civilized man, so-called, so-called." And it's true. Like, in a way, we criticize Pakistan or India. No, we glorify India or Pakistan. They've both made great progress technologically, isn't it? Now there's, shopping malls and this and that. But again, especially in, let's say Hindu India or before partition, if there's no spiritual development, what's the use of a skyscraper building? What's the use of a shopping center? What's the use of better cars and so on? Now, by the same token, we don't reject material advancement, but point is there should be God consciousness there. So now we have Barka, I think.
Collecting and eating more than necessary also causes prayasa or unnecessary endeavor. By God's arrangement, anyone in any part of the world can live very peacefully. If he has some land and a milk cow, there is no need for a man to move from one place to another to earn a livelihood. For one can produce food grains locally and get milk from cows. That can solve all economic problems. Fortunately, man has been given higher intelligence for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, or the understanding of God, one's relationship with Him, and the ultimate goal of life, love of God. Unfortunately, so-called civilized man, not caring for God realization, utilizes his intelligence to get more than necessary.
Didn't we read this already?
Yes, Prabhuji, we have already read it.
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Barka, you have to go at the one that says human life is meant for God realization.
Oh,
And you can read, we can read both paragraphs, including that verse from 1 to 9 from the Bhagavatam.
human life is meant for God realization, and the human being is given under higher intelligence for this purpose. Those who believe that this higher intelligence is meant to attain a higher state should follow the instructions of the Vedic literatures. By taking such instructions from higher authorities, one can actually become situated in perfect knowledge and give real meaning to life. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.9, Sri Shuta Goswami describes the proper human dharma in this way. Dharmasya he apavargyasya nartho rakayo yopakalpate narthasya dharme kantasya kamo labhaya hismrtah. All occupational engagements, dharma, are certainly meant for your ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service, dharma, should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification.
Very good. So coming back to Rocky's intelligent question, you see, this verse doesn't say that when you become a devotee, you stop all occupational engagements. I mean, Krishna does say sarva dharman parityajya, but even then, he's not telling Arjuna become a sannyasi. On the contrary, he's telling Arjuna continue your kshatriya work. Just do it for me now, isn't it? Arjuna, we believe he's an eternal associate of Krishna. He's always liberated. He's always fully Krishna conscious. But by Krishna's Leela here, he's, put into illusion for our benefit. But Krishna could have said to him, okay, now that you're God conscious, renounce all your dharmas, like renounce all your, physical, like stop being a kshatriya and, whatever, go to some Himalaya and meditate on me. No, you go and fight the war. Hmm? So similarly here, the same verse, 129, all occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation, which for us, we mean it's bhakti. But the fact that this verse that Sutta Goswami is saying all occupational engagements are dharma are meant for ultimate liberation and they should never be performed for material gain shows that they should be performed. They should be performed. The point is, though, that they should be performed in Krishna consciousness. So what does that mean practically for us? It means you wake up a little extra early and you chant those 16 or 8 or 4 rounds and, you cook that bhoga for Krishna. You put it, in front of your Radha Krishna deities or paintings and you say, please accept this prasadam, this bhoga, my dear Lord, and you eat that prasadam with love. And then when you have time, you read Bhagavatam or you go to Bhakti Shastri class and then you do Harinam Sankirtan with your children at home and your family, Namahat programs, and etc. That's what it means. And at the same time, you try to, get your kids into the best universities and give them the best food and best education and so on. The point is, it should be done in Krishna consciousness. Naina, it's your turn. The first step in human civilization. Okay. Before Naina reads, Shobha has a question.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
What's the difference between Go Dasa and Adanta Dasa? Adanta Go.
I think it's the same thing. Same thing. Just
Servant of the senses.
Servant of the senses. Yeah. Yeah.
Here the word is go. What represents go?
What does the word go mean?
Yeah.
It can mean cow, but it also can mean senses. So go das means, or go dasi means servant of your senses. So that means, servant of, we have 5 senses, as you know, the eyes, the nose, etc., and the corresponding objects of sense gratification. And I mean, we all know what sense gratification is. Meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex, basically. So someone who is running after those things only is a godas or a godasi.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Who was reading? I deleted the name here, so I go down this list. So who was asked to read? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Nana, I guess. Nana.
Yes. So please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. From
Hare
where
Krishna.
I start?
Oh, you can start from
The first step.
the first step.
Yeah.
Okay. The first step in human civilization consists of occupational engagements performed according to the scriptural injunctions. The higher intelligence of a human being should be trained to understand basic dharma. In human society, there are various religious conceptions characterized as Hindu, Christian, Hebrew.
That means Jewish.
Jewish, Muhammadan, Buddhist, and so on. For without religion, human society is no better than animal society.
You see, Prabhupada, in a way, is very broad-minded, isn't he? Remember I told you that story the first day when Prabhupada went to Iran, which is a very, Islamic country, and he mentioned in passing the call to prayer, Allah, Allah, Muhammad Rasulullah, I know this, by the way, because my father, who was French and white French, he was born in Egypt because he was part of a French colony who was working in Alexandria. So growing up there, he knew all this Arabic or a little bit, and he taught it to me. So Prabhupada said, so yeah, so human life without religion is animal life. But then, of course, we believe that, without being arrogant, we believe that Sanatan Dharma or Vaishnavism is like the postgraduate, level of religion. Although, there can be great expressions of bhakti in other religions. In other words, excuse me, sometimes you'll hear prayers, Christian, for example, I come from a Christian background. There are some prayers by some Christian saints that are amazing, that are just beautiful, that have so much devotion, and they're very inspiring to me. And similarly, I'm sure there's some beautiful prayers by some, Muslim, mystics or saints, if we want to call them, who express devotion. So there's expressions of bhakti in all the world religions. We believe, though, that theologically speaking, in terms of like understanding how the world works and what the Bhagavatam provides, what the Vedic literatures provides, is a lot more sophisticated, a lot more detailed, and so on. Okay, well, you had a short one. Sorry. Now Aruna has a longer one. Aruna, going once, you're gonna lose your space. Going twice. Someone. Okay. Well, Aruna will be for next time. Oh, someone raised. Poonam, you have a question?
No, Prabhuji, I just want to start continue reading.
Yeah, okay, but the thing is, like, there's a whole list of people before you, because today I took a list. So I'm putting you on the list. It may be tomorrow, because right now the next one, well, Aruna is missing in action, but then, so it'll be either today or tomorrow, but you're on the list, okay?
Okay.
So now we have Bina.
Prabhuji, I have
yes?
something to say.
Okay.
That here, in my understanding, Prabhupada is like he respect all religions, if I'm not wrong. Is it okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So everything is happening according to Krishna's will. Okay. So why Prabhupada preaches in other religions if everyone is sent by the Krishna's will in every other religions, like someone Christian or Muslims?
Oh, why is he preaching at all?
Why? Yes.
My understanding is that a Vaishnava has, on the one side, appreciates the religions of others and encourages them. There's many times where Prabhupada says, look, we are not changing Hindus into Christians or Muslims into Hindus and so on. We just want you to love God. And if you can love God in your own tradition, that's good. We just, and that those were not diplomatic, like how politicians sometimes they'll say something, but it's excuse my language, it's just bullshit, just to get votes, or just to, to to get the people to vote for them, but they don't really mean what they say. I don't think that's the case. When Prabhupada tells, for example, Christians, like, or, in his lectures, like what I just said, he's not, I'm sorry, again, excuse my language, he's not bullshitting people. He really means it. At the same time, and it's not one, or again, it's not either or. At this, the mind and the heart of a Vaishnava is, from what limited understanding, is very broad and can accommodate many things at the same time, So at the same time that a Vaishnava sincerely says, okay, look, if you're a Christian, just, be a good Christian, and he's saying this honestly. At the same time, he or she is convinced that Supreme Lord is Krishna. And if someone doesn't know yet that it's Krishna, then he wants the person to eventually come to the level of knowing that Radha Krishna is the ultimate object. Even Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. What is the next line? Gyanavam Mam Prapadyate. After many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. And that's Krishna speaking. So who are we to, then the question is, well, does that mean that Christians who don't know Krishna or Muslims who don't know Krishna, do they take birth again, or do they go to heaven? Do they go to Krishna? I like to follow Garuda Prabhu. You know, I mentioned him. He's one of my Shiksha gurus. His view is, look, it's not for us to judge where somebody goes after death. You know, who are we to judge? Of course, we're gonna say, look, if you eat meat, that's not cool, and you know that could be a big problem for you. You know, but again, but who are we to? We don't know. We don't know what is the mind of Krishna. Maybe who knows what he'll do, you know, and who are we to judge? Oh, for sure you're going to hell. For sure you know, our Shastra says certain things. We're not going to deny that. But then we also believe that Krishna is Swaraj. He can do whatever, he's supremely independent. So the destination of someone after death is certainly beyond our sense perception. So who are we to, you know? So coming back to your point, I think there's this balance where on the one side you respect all religion, on the other side you naturally would love someone to start worshiping Radha Krishna because you believe deeply that Krishna really is God. That, you know, when Jesus is talking about the Supreme Father, it's God. When, you know, when Muslims talk about Allah, little do they know that Allah has a form, you know, of a blue boy who plays a flute. I'll tell you a story once. I regret doing this, so do not imitate me. But I was a young brahmachari, you know, kind of fanatic. I just converted to Vaishnavism, and I was at the LA airport, you know, distributing Prabhupada's books at the airport, and there was this Muslim family who were waiting for their flight, and they were sitting somewhere, you know, and they had a little girl who was who could not have been more than maybe 8 years old or something. And at one point, she got up alone and she went to the toilet, which was across the hall where, you know, I was disturbing people with Prabhupada's books. I'm kidding. Well, so I don't know why, you know, sometimes you do foolish things, you know. Just like yesterday, there was this Prabhupada disciple here in New Mayapur who was telling a story how when he was also doing some preaching as a young man, he went into a butcher shop, a butcher, and he said, "Hello, sir, this book is a book that teaches you how to stop eating meat." You know, and he was laughing like, I don't know why, I was so stupid. Why did I say this to this man, you know? But he was joking because the man's wife said, "Oh, look at this young man. George, give him some, he looks hungry." And so the man started giving this Prabhu like sausage and slices of meat, you know, to eat. And this devotee was like, "Oh, okay, thank you," you know. And then he walked out and then he gave the food to some dogs, you know. He didn't want to offend them. So so this little Muslim girl comes out of the bathroom, you know, to go back to her parents. And I said, hi. I stopped her. I said, "Hi, little girl." And I showed her a picture of Science of Self-Realization, which has a picture of Vishnu, you know, of Paramatma. And I said, "Look, you see this? This is Allah." And this girl looked at me and she started crying and she ran to her parents. And fortunately, they didn't complain, you know, but I felt really bad, you know. But you know, that's how I feel, and I think ultimately, you know, maybe that's not what you want to do, but that's how a Vaishnava, I think, feels, you know, deep in the heart. Like, hey, you know, you're worshiping Allah, but Allah has a form, and it's Shamasundar, and you're missing out on a lot of wonderful feelings, spiritual feelings, by not engaging in, you know, in a direct relationship with Shamasundar and his girlfriend Radharani, and becoming their servants and becoming part of the Goloka Vrindavan family, and, you know, hanging out with Balaram and the cowherd boys and going to the forest, you know, or seeing the cowherd boys come home from the forest, you know, and I don't know, talking among yourself about how Krishna is so beautiful, or, you know, helping Nanda Maharaj, you know, I don't know, or Yashoda make a garland for Radharani, and so on, you know. And it's the same feeling like Christians, you know. I mean, Muslims in a way, they have, from my understanding, they have a sort of a military, you know, like you know, kind of like jihad, kind of like we have to, you know. But Christians also, they feel like, ah, man, you hear Christian preachers, it's not like a political, like we have to make, you know, a Christian, you know, we have to spread Christianity in a political sense. It's more like, man, you're missing out on Jesus. Oh, when you become Christian, you feel Jesus's love. It's so wonderful to be you know, to be a Christian, because you feel God's love. Or, you know, if they're Catholic, like, you know, yeah, man, you having a relationship with Mary. Oh, it's so wonderful for the soul. So that's how a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi feels too. Like, oh man, you're missing out. Like, Radha Krishna, like Vrindavan. Dude, like, it's nice you're worshiping God, but try to understand who ultimately God is, you know? And that's why a devotee preaches, I guess, and makes little Muslim girls cry. All right. So, who's next? I think now we have Bina. And I think someone raised a hand, but I got a notification that you wanted to read, but then it went down, so I forgot who that was. But I can put you on the
Prabhuji,
list. Oh, so you're ready to read, Bina. Okay, good.
yes, Prabhuji, which paragraph?
I think we have as stated above. As stated above.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Okay, Bina, if you don't mind,
Okay,
Aruna
okay,
has a
Prabhuji.
question.
Shobha, I have a question.
Yes, Shobha has a question. Sorry.
Yeah, Prabhuji, as in Pakistan, especially in Sindhi community, as Kashma Mataji said, Muslims are especially doing that. Converted our girls, in not even girls, but also boys and other men. So, as Prabhupada said that spread spirituality and preach for Krishna. So, we are doing the same thing. Then, what's the difference between them and us?
Because we're not forcing people. That's, we're not forcing anyone. You don't have any history of Vaishnavas who forcefully, convert others.
But we
Is
have the
there?
power. But we have the power of preaching.
When we have the power, I don't think we would actually certainly not, rape, non Vaishnavi women. Like, you know what I mean? That's barbaric. Barbaric. It's barbaric. Forcing, like kidnapping young women and forcing them, like if you don't convert to to Islam. I mean, I hope this is not being recorded, and I hope you guys are not going to be in trouble with the Islamic government of Pakistan, but come on. The sort of stuff we hear, at least happening in Bangladesh. You're saying it's happening with the Sindhi, but at least this forced conversions, and especially in terms of violence to innocent women, without their parents. It's horrible. Arranged marriages in Hindu Vedic culture is there, but it's loving parents. I mean, in the best scenarios, who agree with other loving parents, and they make an arranged marriage for their children. Many times based with also astrological jyotish to make sure that there's a good chance that they'll be a happy couple and so on. It's done with all loving intentions. Not that some Muslim army pulls into a Hindu village and chooses whichever young girls they want and just kidnaps them and takes them away, or says, hey, if you don't convert to Islam, we'll kill you. Bina.
As stated above, dharmasya gyasya nartho rathayo pakalpate. Religion is mean for attending emancipation, not for getting bread. Sometimes human society manufactures a system of so-called religion aimed at material advancement.
So I'm
But
sorry. Let me start to interrupt, but you'll read. But there's 2 points here. When Prabhupada is talking about getting bread, Prabhupada, he was respectful to Christians, but sometimes he kind of, very often he. So anyone know why he's talking about bread here? Because if you know Christianity, one of the famous prayers is called the Our Father that art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and so on. And at one point it says, please give us our daily bread. Please give us our daily bread. And this is a prayer that all Christians, whether they're Protestant, Orthodox, Catholics, they all pray, because it's one of the most famous prayers in the Bible. So Prabhupada would say, look, you don't have to ask God for bread. He will give you bread. You should ask God for love of God. That's it. So that's why, first of all, here, the first point I'm making, he's mentioning bread. Religion is not meant for getting bread. Religion is meant for getting emancipation, which means moksha. And we as Vaishnavas, we even say even moksha is not important. We just want Krishna prema, isn't it? We just want love of God. You know, nadanam na janam na sundarim, right? Mama janmani janmani ishvare bhavatat bhaktir. Bhaktir. We just want bhakti, life after life. So that's the first point I want to say. And the second point is, yeah, this thing about, you know, different societies manufacturing so-called religion aimed at material advancement. You even see that in Hinduism. You know, demigod worship is basically that. Okay, let's do a puja to Shani on a Thursday because what? Because we'll get better material life. So it's not just, you know, the Muslims or the Christians who have this materialistic view. Sometimes, you know, some of them. Prabhupada is speaking here in general, but it's also included in Hinduism. All sorts of, so many branches of Hinduism is just business. Let's just do, we do business with this devata or that devata. We do this puja or this, you know, we hire some Brahmin, he'll chant so many mantras, and we should get the new car, or we should get the visa for America, or we should get, you know, the good husband, or we should get the good wife, or we should get, you know, release from disease. But that's not bhakti. Oh, please, go on, go on. Religion entails.
But that is far from the purpose of true dharma. Religion entails understanding the law of God, because the proper execution of these laws ultimately leads one out of material entanglements. That is the true purpose of religion. Unfortunately, people accept religion for material prosperity because of the atihara, or an exclusive desire for such
Excessive means, you know, wanting
excessive
extra or very
more
much.
desire for such prosperity. True religion, however, instruct people to be satisfied with bare necessities of life while cultivating Krishna consciousness. Even though we require economic development, true religion allow it only for supplying the bare necessities of material existence. Jivasya tattva
Tattva jigyasa.
Jnanisa. The real purpose of life is to inquire about the absolute truth. If our endeavor, prayasa, is not to inquire about the absolute truth, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy our artificial needs. A spiritual aspirant should avoid mundane
Mundane
endeavors.
endeavor. In other words, we should, you know, real religion teaches that we should just be happy with whatever God gives us, you know, work hard, but not work overly hard, especially if it impedes, you know, your sadhana, that, oh, I'm working so hard now that I don't have time to chant, I don't have time to hear, I don't have time to, you know, worship my deity and so on. Yeah. And Prabhupada is criticizing the type of materialistic religion, which, as I said, you find in all religions. You have, you know, some Christian groups who, it's disgusting. They say, look, you know, like, put your hand, you know, just pray. If you pray to Jesus enough, you know, he'll make you a millionaire. He'll, you know, you're destined to be to be super rich if you become a Christian, you know. But same thing you see in Hinduism also, and same thing you see in Islam, you know. But the true religion, bhakti, is like, you know, I trust that you will maintain me, my Lord. I will not be lazy. I will do my duty. At the same time, I want to, you know, serve you as much as I can at the same time. Can Bhana, is that how you pronounce it? Bhana, can you read next? Is Bhana with us? As we say, going once, going twice. Okay, Bhana has been demoted to the bottom of the list unless she shows up. So next we have well, Bimal Prasad Prabhu. I don't know if he's here. Bimal Prasad Prabhu is maybe not here. Okay, then
Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yeah, so Damni, maybe you can be ready to read next, and while we answer the question from Bina. Bina has a question, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Prabhuji, here in this paragraph, you said that many of the people do business like with demigods and like worship this demigod, you will get this, or this is in our society, but people don't understand. Like uh, we motivate them for do the service of Krishna. So they said this is a long process, and what Krishna will give us, and just you are saying that we will get mercy and this and this. So they instantly want to get something from like demigods and whatever people refer them. They go to here and there searching for. The reason is they are, for suppose in our home or relations, people are suffering from certain disease, or there are many problems of like financial, or so they prefer to get instantly from the demigods,
So
and that
is
they do
so
not worship the only the one demigod. For suppose one day they worship the one, and
right,
second person refer that you service
right,
this
right,
one,
right,
and
right,
you
right,
will instantly get this.
right. So you want me to comment? I can comment by referring to one verse that you made me think, a famous verse from Bhagavatam. Here it is. It's
Yes.
from 554. Nunam pramata. Pramata. Pramata means mad, crazy. Nunam pramata means crazy, okay? Or mad. Not mad like angry, but mad like crazy. You know? So, nunam pramata kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya aprinoti na sadhumani yat atmano yamasanapi kleshada asadeha. So, here's the translation. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activities. And there's the rest of the verse is important, but this is the main thing I want you to focus on. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living. So a lot of people, whether they're Hindus or atheists or or Muslims or Christians, are at a stage in their evolution where they're just not ready because they don't want. It's not that they're ready because some other factor. They don't want. And they don't want God for God. They don't want to give up the idea that, wait a second, actually love of God and living in the spiritual world in a loving relationship with God, that's the goal of life, and that's what we're supposed to do eternally. No. They're at a stage where, like, forget. I don't want I don't love of God. Give me a break. Like, I don't want love of God. I want money. I want success. I want sex. I want power. I want fame. And to a point where it's like pramata, like, look at Hiranyakashipu. If you came to Hiranyakashipu, and you see Prahlad, I was going to say Bina, if you came to Hiranyakashipu and say, excuse me, can you consider that love of God? But you see Prahlad Maharaj, he does that. You see in the movie. And as soon as she says, no, but Louis, I just want to serve Govinda, Hiranyakashipu gets so angry, mad. So it's not just Hiranyakashipu who is mad ever sense gratification. It's most people, all souls in the material world, we believe, rejected Krishna and are here because they don't want God, isn't it? And so some pious souls who have a little punya, they're like, okay, okay, I'll accept God, okay, or some sort of higher power, but I'm still the center. It's for me. It's for me. It's for my family. It's my, and what is it? And what's the goal? Material sense gratification. But the Vaishnava is way beyond that. The Vaishnava is like, I don't want, I'm going to work for those things, and maybe it's my karma, and maybe it's my duty, but these things, and I take responsibility. I don't renounce them artificially. I do them as a service to Krishna. But love of Krishna and my relationship with Krishna, that's the most important thing in my life. And that's why I'm approaching Krishna in the first place. Not for anything material, but to have the chance to serve Radha Krishna. and knowing that by serving Radha Krishna, they're going to fill my heart with so much love and so much happiness and so much peace that there's nothing that compares to that. Hmm? Okay, so we have Damni. Are you ready to read? Damni, going once, going twice. Okay, Damni will read another time. And now we have Devika. If Devika Lohana is with us.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Another impediment is prajalpa, unnecessary talking. When we mix with a few friends, we immediately begin unnecessary talking, sounding just like a croaking toads. If we must talk, we should talk about Krishna consciousness movement. Those outside of the Krishna consciousness movement are interested in reading heaps of the newspapers, magazines, and novels,
And
solving
TikTok
cross.
and Instagram and Facebook. Prabhupada would add those words probably if it was today.
Absolutely. Solving crossword puzzles and doing so many other nonsensical things. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy. In the Western countries, old men retired from active life play cards, fish, watch televisions, and debate about useless socio-political schemes. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the Prajalpa category. Intelligent persons are interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities.
One time, this is a story that the Hridayananda Maharaj tells. He was driving with Prabhupada in Los Angeles, passing by a famous park called Rancho Park. I used to go there myself. I was a kid when I was a kid to play touch football with school, and there's a golf course there, where people play golf. And when Prabhupada was, being driven by, he saw these old men, playing golf, and then he started not crying, but tears started going down his eyes. And they asked Prabhupada, like, why are you crying, Prabhupada? Or maybe they didn't ask him, but Prabhupada made the comment. He was crying. He said, these men, they have a nice life. They have everything they need. They have a few years before they're going to die. And instead of using this little bit of time they have left, they're wasting time putting this ball in a hole, like playing golf. Now, it's not only Western, okay? Prabhupada here says, people, and what he says in the Western countries, but we also know, this is all over the world. As a matter of fact, look, Prabhupada, where did Prabhupada want to start this movement first? Was it in America? No, he tried in India. Remember when he went out to distribute Back to Godhead magazine and no one would even pay attention to him? He would spend hours and hours trying to sell one Back to Godhead magazine, and in the tea stalls and cigarette stalls of New Delhi, go away. We don't want no. So okay, Prabhupada is saying here in the Western world, men are wasting time, but people are wasting time everywhere. And especially now that India is more economically developed, maybe men and women have more time for wasting time. Maybe before it was like survival mode, like we have to work so hard just to survive. Now maybe because of, well, probably because of the effort of Krishna consciousness, because with Krishna consciousness also can come whatever Krishna wants, maybe including material prosperity. Although Krishna also says, when I show special favor, I take away everything from him. So up to Krishna what he wants to give us. Or what he wants to give or take away from a nation. But the point is, I just want to make a point that it's not just in the Western world. You see, I'm sure if you walk in the streets of Karachi, many so-called Muslim men who could be in mosque praying, they're wasting time, smoking cigarettes and hookah, in some cafe. So it applies to the whole world. Maybe now we have Divya. Oh no, so is it Diya Kumar or Divya Kumari? Divya Kumari or okay, she also switched off. Now we have Ishvar G. Are you with us? Huh. Seems like there's a drop-off rate, huh? Bana, you have a question. Let's just see if Ishwar's here though, because I personally, it's none of my business, and I respect your wish to do everything. But if you're gonna get your degree and I think you're supposed to be physically present for the class. I mean, at least online. So that's something that maybe Bimala Prasad Prabhu should bring up. That those who are here cannot just like log on and then turn off the video and then I don't know, go watch cricket or something and then expect to get the exam. That's not fair for all of you who are participating. So Eshwar's also missing in action, as they say. And then someone raised a question. Who was it again? The notification was so slow. So fast. Someone had a question? No? Okay. I thought I saw it. So Gungun, you can read if you're with us. Gungun. And we have 10 minutes left.
Prabhuji, I can't read right now. There's so much.
Okay. So Haripriya, are you with us?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so before you read Sunil Kumar Prabhu, Sunil Kumar raised his hand, so maybe he has a question. Sunil, you have a question?
Hare Krishna. No,
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
I don't have any question.
You just wanted to
Actually,
read.
nobody was there to read, so I thought I should read.
That's kind of you. But Haripriya came right away, but I'll put you on the list, okay? For tomorrow,
Sure, Prabhu,
because
sure. Hare.
Sunil, nice shirt, by the way. Cool. Okay, so Haripriya, you're
Hare
on.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I want to ask something before reading.
Yep, please.
May I?
Yep.
Prabhuji, like devotees, devotees do offer, like we are chanting 16 rounds. If someone asked us, "Okay, please pray for us," or do like word, maybe Nimit, maybe you
No,
hear
I
that
don't know
word.
what. I don't. I'm sorry. What is it?
Sorry, yeah. So that's okay. Like when we perform mala, so someone if ask us, okay, like do chant some rounds for our relatives who are ill or who had passed away. So like we are chanting for them. Is it okay? Like in temple, this activity also performed. Like someone has passed away, so we all like congregational present. We do chant some rounds for them. So
Yes.
is it like something materialistic? Like we are chanting
No,
rounds
because you're
for
praying.
them.
You're especially if they've passed away. You're praying for their spiritual welfare, isn't it? Pinda, the whole notion of pinda. Remember? And it's interesting because in some way you could say, okay, when you become a Vaishnava, you don't have to do pinda. You don't have to, offer to the forefathers and so on because you're a Vaishnava. But it's interesting that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, from what I heard, instructed his householder disciples to still do pinda, even though they were Vaishnavas. So when we're, and even if someone is sick, in the hospital, okay, let's chant a few mantras for so and so who's in the hospital. The Vaishnava prays that for their spiritual welfare, of course, also for their material welfare, especially, for example, if some spiritual leader or someone who, like when Gopal Krishna Maharaj was passed, or when my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj was in the hospital and was, in a critical condition, or when Ambarish Prabhu a few weeks ago had, a heart attack, they're saying, please pray for him. For those who are still alive, we want the Vaishnavas to still stay with us because then they can give us their Sangha, So we pray that they get healthy for the benefit of the world, because when a Vaishnava leaves the world, then it's one less Vaishnava on the planet, and therefore, in a way, it's a loss for the world, And once they've passed away also, then we pray for their, we pray that Krishna will see that, this soul had so many fans who were Vaishnavas, and so we hope that in this way maybe Krishna will be even more kind to that soul and place that soul in a even more conducive place, or maybe we'll take him to the spiritual world, like. So these are good things to do. because they're directed to Krishna and to the spiritual, advancement and a future destination of those souls. You agree? Do you agree? I hope you agree. You're muted, so let's assume she
Yes,
agrees
Prabhu,
with
but
us.
but
Yes.
what about non-devotees? Like we are chanting for them from our quota, like from our 16 rounds quota. So we have to chant them apart from our quota, or we can give them from our quota.
I don't know if there's, your quota.
Quota, it means like we do chant 16 rounds
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think that
So
would be
from that
extra. It
quota,
is
we
extra
can
credit.
count.
I don't know how to answer that. Because ultimately you're not really, I mean, chanting a whole round, because like we can't really change the meaning of the mantra either. We can like in gestures say, okay, now this round that I'm going to chant now is, dedicated especially for, so and so. Okay, and it's a good feeling and the sentiment is genuine, and the Vaishnavi or the Vaishnava feels for the suffering of others and so on. But you can't forget what the meaning of the mantra that you're chanting is. What does the Maha Mantra means? It doesn't mean please help, you know, Gopal, or please help, grandmother Gita, or please help Pakistan. It's You're chanting, O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. Please engage me, me. This is what you're praying. So that meaning of what you're praying is not going to change. Like you're saying literally for 16, 108 times 16, if you're at that, platform. Oh Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. Oh Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. Oh Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. So, and that doesn't change. So yeah, there could be a nice sentiment behind it, but so that's the thing about, your quota and a quota for others doesn't really make sense in a way, because like every time you're chanting, this is what you're literally saying. You're saying, "Oh Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service." You're not saying more, you're not saying less, you know? I've never heard of chanting an entire round for
Thank you,
someone
Prabhu.
else. Because then you could get into business. Like you could open an online shop, like, hey, for this week only at a discounted price, I'll chant 2 rounds for you for only, 250 rupees, usually 500 rupees. And, then we can get into a business of chanting rounds for others, That doesn't work. Like the Maha Mantra is actually a very personal one-on-one prayer to the divine couple, asking them that they engage you, because that's what you're saying. Oh Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. So you know what I mean? There's not much wiggle room to 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 change the meaning so much that now you're like chanting for someone else when the meaning of the mantra is please engage me. You know what I mean? So as extra credit, you can put in a few prayers. Of course, look, when Prabhupada was leaving his body, had his heart attack. To be fair, when Prabhupada had his heart attack, remember in 1967 in New York, he had a heart attack, and so he went to India, right? And before he went to India to recuperate, and then he came back, devotees all over America, and they had a temple, I think, just in San Francisco and in New York. They were praying all night, and they were singing Hare Krishna, but it was directed for the well-being of Prabhupada. So it's also legitimate to pray for someone else, even though you're chanting, "O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service," literally, but you're praying for Prabhupada's welfare. So there's also that consideration. Sunil Kumar, you have a question, and we're going to stop in 4 minutes. Maybe
Hare
we can
Krishna.
finish with
Yes,
Sunil
Prabhuji,
Kumar's question, and
I
Gun
have
can
a
read.
question regarding this.
Yes. Wait, hold on.
That
We're going to
eh,
go
yes,
ahead. Yes.
yes, Prabhu. As you said, that Maha Mantra is very personal. We can't chant it for the others. But
I mean, we
Prabhuji,
can. We can. We can. I mean, to be corrected, devotees did chant for Prabhupada's welfare, so it's not like it's bad. I'm just saying we should remember what we're, if it becomes like a habitual thing. So what's your question?
My question was regarding that before in Krishna consciousness, when I was kid, we used to read Bhagavad Gita, not as it is, but a simple Bhagavad Gita. And in that, we used to read some stories in the end of any chapter that this person read Bhagavad Gita, this chapter, and offered this chapter's fruit to the others, and they become and they liberated. So is that possible, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, Vasudev, but it's possible by the grace of Paramatma. So my understanding is, a lot of things happen by the grace of Krishna in the heart, but because he reciprocates. Remember, Yeyatamam, like how does Krishna consciousness spread? Of course, every soul has the free will and decides yes or no, but there's also this thing that, you have, for example, how Prabhupada, some explanation, why was Prabhupada so successful in preaching? Because he has such an intense desire and he's such a pure devotee that Krishna had to reciprocate. So he made the arrangements for all these souls who were also kind of desiring Krishna or ready to, say yes for whatever reason, or, you know. So if someone says, for example, okay, I will offer, and we hear that, like Vasudev Dat, he prays, my dear Lord, please I want to take the karma of every soul in the universe. So that sentiment, Krishna sees that sentiment and may say, okay, well, look, it's all based, like, for example, we hear, Radharani brings a soul to Krishna, and or why do we put Tulsi on the offering? Because we may be a rascal, but because Tulsi there, Krishna is like, okay, well, look, you have no bhakti, but because Tulsi there, okay, I'll accept the offering. Or we hear how soul Radharani is so kind, she'll introduce someone to Krishna, and so because we have sort of an insider contact, an insider connection, a backdoor connection to Krishna through, for example, Radharani, then Krishna is going to say, okay, fine, even though we don't really deserve it because we're such rascals. You know what I mean? But because we know someone, it's just like like the perverted reflection is, modern day politics. Who do you know in government? And if you know so and so, you can, get you pay a little bribe and you get access to whatever you want. So so in that same way, Krishna reciprocates. So if some pious, I don't know, if some pious mother, says, okay, let all the punya that I ever accumulated go to my son who is in the hospital with cancer. Will Krishna reciprocate with that or accept that? Is it possible? Yes, but it's possible by the, ultimately by the sanction of Krishna, by the sanction of Krishna, by his sweet will. So yes, it is possible, but it's not like an automatic thing, because ultimately, not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanction. So it has to be sanctioned by Krishna. That's my limited understanding, Shunil. You wanted to add something to that?
No, Prabhuji, I got my answer. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhu. So we'll end with a little 3-minute kirtan, and then you Prabhus will all go to sleep. It's late. It's 10 for you. It's 6:30 p.m. for me here. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupa Goswami ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai, and everyone's muted. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Radha Govinda ki jai.
Hare
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 Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna.
see you
Jai
tomorrow.
Prabhu Ji. Jai Prabhu ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.